Defense Secretary James Mattis signed orders to begin deploying troops to Afghanistan today. However, details of the deployment will not be released until next week. Last week, President Trump announced the U.S. will be upping its commitment to what seems to be a never-ending war. And now we are learning new details about the already existing number of troops in the country, which the Pentagon confirmed this week is more than previously thought. RT correspondent Anya Parampil breaks down the numbers and how the military is able to shield the true number of troops on the ground. Anya?
That's right, Ashley. Until this week, the Pentagon acknowledged 8,400 troops in Afghanistan. But speaking to reporters this week, a Pentagon spokesperson admitted that number is actually closer to 11,000, a difference of about 2,600. See, it turns out that original figure did not include troops on so-called temporary assignment. As a spokesperson, Dana White explained Mattis's decision, quote, "The Secretary has determined we must simplify our accounting methodology and improve the public's understanding of America's military commitment in Afghanistan. Keeping in that mission, the Pentagon will now include troops on temporary assignment in Afghanistan." Politico reports Mattis himself alluded to the lack of transparency in numbers recently, telling journalists traveling with him last week, quote, "There's a very strange accounting procedure I inherited, which apparently did not count troops deployed to Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria for less than 120 days at a time." Now, this is where things get tricky, because while Mattis reviewed the procedure for counting troops in all three of those countries, he only announced a change for Afghanistan, leaving Iraq and Syria still in the dark. In fact, this very administration announced in March it will no longer disclose troop levels in either country, quote, "in order to maintain tactical surprise," according to the Pentagon. Last week, President Trump announced he will send more troops to Afghanistan. This week, brother of Education Secretary Betsy DeVos and Blackwater founder Eric Prince was granted an op-ed in the New York Times to proclaim, "Contractors, not troops, will save Afghanistan." Secretary Mattis will report on the situation in Afghanistan to Congress next week and promises to introduce more facts then. But for now, while the Pentagon is attempting to bring about a guise of transparency, we still have no concrete details spelling out the president's path forward in that country. Only that, quote, "we will win," while exactly what victory means remains vague. In Washington, Anya Parampil, RT.